Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I thought I'd show the rest of the collection I have of Tony Wong's publication of The Force of Buddha's Palm. Now, Tony Wong, of course, was the founder of a company that published comic books back in the late 1980s. If you see here, it says copyright 1988. And the comic books were all from were what's called manhua or manhua from Hong Kong, and they were based on his own creations. The With few exceptions, being the Blood Sword series, which was created by a different artist and writer, but Tony Wong did the artwork for this comic book, The Force of Buddha's Palm. This is issue number 4. I don't have the first 3 issues. They do go for a little bit of money on eBay. Anyway, they're not as easy to find anymore because collectors are getting wise to the rarity of these books. They were priced pretty much the same as the American comic books, but they had a lot more pages. The artwork is unique. The stories are typical of what's called martial arts, as I said, or wuxia novels. And this particular issue and this particular series takes place in I would describe it as kind of the medieval time during probably the Ming Dynasty, looking at the hairstyles and so on of the main characters. That's what you have to go by. Anyway, so because there's very little historical background in this in Tony Wong's books, a lot of it is mostly inspired by a Taiwanese martial arts writer named Gulong, who died quite young in his late 40s. So I'll just flip through the book so you can get a sense of what the series is like. So this is issue number 4. Beautiful cover, by the way. Tony Wong. And the main character's name is Nine Continents. And this is one of I believe it would be his son. His name is Devilito. So I did read through this, and they were fun reads because I do enjoy reading martial arts stories. And here you see a very graphic, violent scene of the main character being boiled alive by these fellows called the 10 demons. So while trapped in the valley of 10 demons, 9 continents, that's our main character, loses orphan son of White Jade Dragon. The demons capture 9, that's 9 continents, subject him to an assortment of fiendish tortures. Meanwhile, the agents of fire and water enter the Floral Palace in their search for 9 continents. It would have been best if the translator had just left the Chinese name and left it up to the imagination of the readers to think up something in terms of like the Chinese name would have been better, I think. Certain things ought not to be translated because they just don't translate well. The translation for this is competent, I would say, but not as good as some of the translations that I've shown before in the Zhao series and in the Return of the Condor Hero series that came out of Singapore. So you can see, beautifully drawn. This is Tony Wong art. It's a beautifully drawn book. with the martial arts scenes and descriptions, and you can tell by the style of artwork and the styles that are demonstrated in the fight scenes that there is a kind of sword and sorcery type element to the stories. All right, so that's issue number 4. And you can, if you look at the inking, it's not heavy duty inking, and it's done on, and you know, this kind of thing, they show, it's very graphic and violent. The other series that Tony Wong did is this one. It's the Oriental Heroes series. And you can see by the numbering, number 4, and this one being number 4, that they were all released simultaneously. And the constant, it's all typical of the wuxia fiction. It's all revolves around plot. Sometimes the nature of a character will lead the story, but there's no deep, wordy, psychological introspection. And if you notice, you see more word balloons spoken from the characters rather than you see narration or narrative boxes in the panels. These comic books were not easily produced. And there's your main character, 9 Continents. These books were not easily produced because the original books, comic books, were actually read from in this direction, from left to right. So the company, when they produced these books in the West, they had to literally cut panel by panel out and repaste them. If you look carefully, like right here, you actually see where the panel was actually cut. And you can see the unevenness of the panels. Just to give you a hint, it wasn't easy to produce these, but what's kind of remarkable is how quickly they came out. I remember seeing this in comic book stores and being surprised at how quickly these were released. That's issue number 4. I don't have 5 and 6. This is issue number 7. You can flip through that. Again, beautiful artwork. You can read the story so far. So a mysterious figure enters the Valley of 10 Demons. The dark and dangerous warrior tells Devilito the truth about his father and about the stricken 9 continents. Keep in mind, 9 continents is the main character in the story. Meanwhile, at Floral Palace, Devilito's twin brother, Samson, is ordered to slay a mysterious villain. He is unknowingly thrown into a path of grave danger. Okay. I like the artwork. Just one of the main selling features is it's not heavy duty on color. The coloring is light. The shading is light, but it's just very well done. There's a lot that's missing from current computerized coloring that existed back then. That's why in many cases, in terms of coloring anyway, the Chinese comic books, the manhua, especially the early ones, printed on newsprint, were really meticulously well done. So there's Floral Palace. Beautiful artwork. So this is number 7. Again, you see very very little narration. And you look by the word balloons, and you can tell that there's very little narration, ergo very little kind of psychological introspection. The focus is on action. The translator for these, I forget the name, it was an American translator. I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to risk the mistake. Otherwise, I have to correct it. So that's Tony Wong. He really is the creator of the series. So how we produce our comics. So before producing a comic, our special creative department must formulate an idea on plot for the story. Tony Wong, the chief artist of Oriental Heroes and Drunken Fist and the Force of Buddha's Palm, is responsible for generating a brief story. The other creative specialists add in details and subplots to the story. The creative department meet to discuss the fate of the characters, such as the caged Tiger Wan, the vengeful Wong Mogay, and the stricken Nine Continents. And those are the lead characters from the three books that Tony Wong is the principal artist for. And then it says, now that the story has been formulated, we can proceed to follow up the production work. More details, including the actual production process, will be discussed next issue. So I don't have number 8, but I do have number 17. Again, beautiful cover. Look at that. So that's number 17. That's the story thus far. And there's some masked character. Really inventive series. Always focused on action. You can see by the panels, and you just don't see art like this. And it's genuine art. In many ways and in many respects, way superior to the comic books that are. Its consistency leads to the superiority of the comic books. The art, the coloring is amazing. It's one of the things that attracted me to purchase the books. Initially, they're getting more expensive, but initially they were quite cheap to find in dollar bins. The first issues, of course, are a little more pricey. So beautifully depicted, graphically designed work. So I do have more of the Jademan. They did try again to release their books in the West, and then they stopped. I'll go over that part of the history when I showcase a series called Heaven Sword Dragon Saber that was released by a company called Comics One. And I'll show you the rest of the covers of the books. But where do you see art like this? Great artwork demonstrating the movement, the inking. All right, so that's what number 18 looks like, Blood Sword, and I showed that in a previous episode. I have a consistent run of Oriental Heroes, which I'll show in a later episode. And This is Jademan at one of the local Comic-Cons. All right, so that's that. And this is the subscription. And the readers column. All right. And let's see, is this a wraparound? Not quite. All right, just so you know, these beautifully produced books. So this is number 17. This is number 19. And for people who don't know, that's not a swastika. That's actually an old Buddhist symbol. So don't be fooled. Be informed. This is number 30. This is number 31. Number 32. Just move this aside. And then we have number 34. Number 35. Number 36. '37. And again, this a fairly consistent continuity. I enjoyed reading this series in its continuity. That's one of the advantages of the series. It has a really good continuity that you can follow. This is 38. And we'll move this aside. And then it skips way ahead to 52. And this is the last one I have. 53. This is a slow-moving collection that I'm doing. I'm not in a rush to complete it, but when I see them, I buy them. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation on The Force of Buddha's Palm, an original series created by Tony Wong himself. He did the artwork, and he also did the artwork for another series that I have called Oriental Heroes, which I'll showcase at a later episode. And remember to subscribe and give me that thumbs up for like. And as always, feel free to comment. Thanks. Bye.